Well, everybody, how you doing this afternoon? Not the coordination that you guys were expecting, huh? Here we are, Jimmy Buckets, triple dub to lead the Miami Heat to an impressive victory last night. Listen, I know mumble jerseys. I listen. I get all that, everybody. I get all that. Coordination. First of all, welcome my dude Antonio Williams, my insider, my Nike rep, my NBA rep, all those good things. What's going on, my brother?
Man, you got it, man. I appreciate this opportunity. Definitely want to break this down and talk about this, man. I was watching the game and thinking, I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And once again, it's on, man. And
once again, it's on, baby.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to putting our technology on this track.
Man, come through, everybody. Come through. So, hey, you guys saw the game last night, man. Jimmy Butler. Well, let's just start with that guy. It's just something about the competitive spirit in this dude, man, that never say die. And we know a lot was made about when he decided to leave Philadelphia. Everybody thought Philadelphia was an excellent situation because of the two stars that were there, already. But this guy said, no, I'm going to carve out my own path, and I'm going to take this thing to South Beach. Talk about what you saw from Jimmy Butler last night.
Man, it's one of the things where I know there's this fascination, brother, with is so-and-so a superstar, and is this player a superstar, that player is a superstar. And it's, when you watch Jimmy Butler and he's got his big face coffee, right? He's doing all those things, right? All those things are on brand for a guy that has turned himself into a franchise level player. This is a dude that, didn't come in and he wasn't blessed and socialized by the game as a can't miss kind of prodigy where all of these things were handed to him. He had to be creative to become great. So all of these things that he does that are like when he went to Minnesota and he basically pulled a Kobe, right? Where he said, all of y'all soft, right? When he did that. And when he's talking about how talented these guys are, and he went to the practice and he said, I want to take these guys and I guarantee you I'll beat you with these guys. So that was calculated. So this is a guy that everything he does is thought through. And because he came into his superstardom, he had to work his way into it. He had to be inventive. He had to be creative to do it. All of these things, when you have guys like that, what it speaks to is, and this is one of the things that we don't talk about enough with transcendent players, is how cerebral they are. This dude is very cerebral. So when he was trying to push buttons in Philly, trying to push buttons in Minnesota, that was creative because let's take Minnesota with Andrew Wiggins. And I've said this before, Andrew Wiggins, in terms of talent, pound for pound, inch for inch, is probably one of the top 5 talents in the NBA, right? When you start factoring in his size, his length, this dude is 6'7" with a 6'11" wingspan, jumping over 45 inches vertical leap. So there aren't a lot of guys that are built like Andrew Wiggins from a talent standpoint.
Right.
The question is, can you get that production that's commensurate with that talent on a daily basis? And that's what Jimmy was trying to get out of him. That's what Jimmy was trying to get out of Karl Anthony Towns. That's what Jimmy was trying to get out of Joel Embiid. So what he did, and Ben Simmons as well. So what Jimmy did is found the organization, and that starts at the top with one Pat Riley. He found the organization that resonates with his approach. So Jimmy doesn't have to come in and change the culture of the team, because that was the culture of that team before Jimmy Butler showed up. And so does that make sense what I'm saying, brother?
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense.
That was the culture of that team and that organization before he showed up. Now, him coming to that organization, that just amplifies the pillars that they already are built on.
Right.
So it just totally made sense. It was a great fit. And again, that's how they do their player development. That's how the guys that they draft, that's what they do. And this is before this current iteration of players. Look at the guys that say Hassan Whiteside. Miami developed Hassan Whiteside.
Right.
So this is what they do. And going back to, and they do this for all the stars. When you show up in training camp, you got to pass that physical fitness test that they instituted. Right. And that comes from Pat Riley.
Right.
If you don't do a certain amount of full courts, a certain amount of, let's let what they're calling the basketball world suicides in a certain amount of time, no matter who the player is, you can't practice until you can do that. Right. Yeah. So that, again, Jimmy Butler didn't institute that. That's his approach. That's his mentality. But he chose an organization that really mirrors his approach and his mentality. And that has all manifested itself in this playoff run and the way that these guys have bought into what they're doing.
Okay, I want you to put your scouting cap on. All of your experience doing this in the NBA. A guy like Duncan Robinson.
Yep.
And you look at the contribution that he gives, and like it's not nightly, but he's had so many moments during this run to the NBA Finals. Talk about guys like this ending up in a place like Miami and putting in the type work that he's putting in.
Again, to your point, Duncan Robinson, a guy that we had in Phoenix, Derrick Jones, before he got injured, Kendrick Nunn with what they're doing with him now. But back to what you're saying about Duncan Robinson particularly, the first thing is, of course, this dude is an incredible shooter, right? And then we can say this from a scouting perspective as well. And we talk about this a lot. For most players in the league, the situation is just as important as their talent. And Duncan Robinson is no exception to that. Take where he was at Williams and we played against them when I was at Brandeis at Williams. You take where he was at there. So he went to a system that fits his talents and shooting the ball, working off the dribble to get open threes and things of that nature. So then everybody always talks about, yeah, man, he was able to go to Williams and then go to Michigan. And let's say this. So I've said this before about the level of Division III, the NESCAC where Williams plays at. Brandeis is the UAA. Emory in your city is in our league.
Okay.
So these schools are on the academic level of Ivy League and Patriot League schools. So the guys that are the better players in that league, we also get recruited by Ivy League and Patriot League schools. So we are Division I caliber guys.
Right.
So that was the first thing. Now, the second thing is with him as well is not only was he able to make that jump to go from Williams to Michigan, the other thing that he did is he chose, again, situations are just as important as your talent. He chose the right situation at Michigan, a system that's conducive to his talents when Coach John Beilein was there, right? So that's a completely different system than had he chosen another Division I place, right? So now he chooses the right system for his talents. And now, and so he's able to be the best version of himself while he was playing there. And even with that, he still went undrafted. But he was on NBA radars because he chose the right system. And so that system completely resonated with his talents, mirrored his talents. Same with Jimmy.
Right.
And now we're seeing the fruits of that. Now, the other thing that happens with him as well, and we know this, situations again are just as important as your talent, right?
Thanks.
So the coaching staff is also, for most players in the NBA, the coaching staff is also, how do I say this? Very important to your development as a player. And if you can reach the apex of your powers as a player, right? Case in point, in Miami, when they brought him on, and when he was in Sioux Falls, where their G League team is, when he was there, and when they would call him up for the Heat, what did they always tell him? Shoot the ball every time you touch it, right? And fam, Hoop fam, you got to say this, right? Do you know how confident that makes you when you can shoot when somebody tells you don't ever pass the ball?
Right.
Man. Right? Like where most coaches, no, don't do that. Oh, good shot, right? Right? So you have to exercise the mental gymnastics oftentimes with coaches. You have to know, man, when do you want me to shoot it and when do you not want me to shoot it? As we know, what are players? We are creatures of habit. When we show up at a place, we want to know what our role is every single night, right? What's the expectation of me, right? And that's what. And when you hear players when they talk about when they're having issues as a player, one of the first things they'll say is, "I don't know my role. I don't know if you want me to shoot. I don't know when you want me to shoot. I don't know if you just want me to guard." And so when a coaching staff says every single time on site, shoot the ball, again, the confidence that you get from that, when they literally will tell you, if you don't shoot the ball, I'm taking you out of the game.
Yeah, I better be gunning. I better be gunning.
No,
that always remind me, one of my favorite Joe DeMeek stories. He always talks about when he was in LA, and he was like, he was kind of going through this thing. He was passing the ball. He said, Kobe pulled him to the side. Kobe said, "What position do we play?" He was like, "Shooting guard." "We shoot the ball." Shoot the ball, Jody. Don't be looking to pass. Shoot it. When they give it to you, shoot it. Back. Don't do nothing else. Shoot it.
No question, man.
And he said, "You know what? I just took off from there."
That's all he needed to hear, because when we talk about ball stoppers, right? And then this is not quote unquote traditional scouting. This is just my take on it, right? So, Hoop fam, when we talk about ball stoppers, we always talk about ball stoppers as guys that get the ball in their hands, the ball's rotating, they get the ball in their hands and they want to pound that thing and take a bad shot. We call those ball stoppers, right? Now, another way you can be a ball stopper as well is when, say I'm a point guard, I break down the defense. My objective, if I'm trying to fabricate offense for other people, my objective is to draw the defenders to me so I can create a mismatch, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, whatever it is, and then kick it out to you as an open shooter so you can get an easy look. That's my job, right? You want to know how you can be a ball stopper? When I throw the ball out to you and then you throw it to somebody else, right? Right? So now we have to work even more. We have to work harder and more diligently to get another shot because you just turned down an open one. And more times than not, as a point guard, when you do that, because you're up against the shot clock as well, that falls on me. What does Dre say on the Compton joint? It all falls down on me, right?
All the time.
Right. So now I got to go get the ball with less than 10 seconds on the clock to create something because you passed up an open shot. So you're a ball stopper in that regard, right? So Duncan Robinson is, again, when you're on a team where they tell you to play with that freedom. And again, think about this. This is an organization that's based on sacrifice and discipline, right? Because Kendrick Nunn, as well as has been playing in the finals when he's given an opportunity, there were points in this playoff run where he was getting DNP CDs.
Right.
After having the year that he had, right?
Healthy scratch.
Right. After having the year that he had in the discussion for Rookie of the Year. Right. So this organization is based on sacrifice. And they are telling you, hey, bro, when it comes to you, ain't no sacrificing. Shoot the ball. Right. That says a lot. And it puts a lot of confidence in you, right? Because they're telling you to shoot the ball with Jimmy Butler on the floor, with Bam Adebayo on the floor, with Tyler Hero on the floor. They're telling you shoot it on sight. And the other thing I'll say about Duncan Robinson and the Lakers. So Duncan had hit 7 threes last night, 7 of 13 from 3. I think he was 8 of 13 from the field. So only one shot he took was not a 3 when he got a dunk, I think. Right. In transition. So if you watch the Lakers and what happened to them yesterday, if you watch them, now they gave up 111. But if you watch what happened with Duncan Robinson in particular, the only look, and I don't want to take anything from Duncan Robinson, because if you hit 7 threes, man, you got 24 points. That's major. That's major. So we're not taking anything away from him.
You did work.
But when you look at those 7 threes that he made, the only one that was really sort of contested was the one that he hit on Kyle Kuzma. That was a 4-point play,
right? That
he hit on the wing. Mm-hmm. All the rest of them were lapses in judgment by the Lakers.
Oh my God, yeah,
right. So, because one of the things that you see, the Lakers are a really good defensive team. They were the best defensive team in the league before the bubble, and then they found their groove defensively. In the seeding games, they weren't defended very well, but they found their groove in the playoffs, right? So I'm saying this for a reason, because one of the things, and Duncan Robinson took advantage of this. One of the things that here's some real talk only, Hoop fam. One of the things that happens with teams that are really connected defensively, you know what they can do? They can overhelp, and they get caught in no man's land because they're so programmed to try and help.
Chase that ball.
Right.
Chase that ball.
So how many times did we see KCP getting caught in the middle because, like, okay, I'm programmed to help. Oh, wait a minute. I got Duncan Robinson. I can't help. Right. So same with him. Same with Danny Green. Right. Yeah. So a lot of those threes that Duncan Robinson hit were a result of the Lakers being programmed because they're so connected defensively. Oh, I got to help. The ball got in the paint. Oh, wait a minute. I'm guarding Duncan Robinson. So they took advantage of that. And that adjustment by Frank Vogel, I have a hard time believing that he didn't tell those guys to always stick with Duncan Robinson. But if he didn't say that, that's an in-game adjustment that he didn't make. Right? Where, hey, when you got this dude, don't help off, because we got Dwight, we have AD before the injury, we have them at the rim, right? We have them at the rim. So if somebody is going to the rim, it's their job. If we're pushing up on the perimeter, it's their job to erase that. If we're out guarding on the perimeter with pressure, your job is to stick with that dude no matter what.
Dude, always find the shooter.
Right.
Always find the shooter.
Right.
And listen, so I'm glad this game happened on a Friday night, because it gives the blue check folk, the talking heads, the crazy TV show, because let's get it out the way. A lot is going to be made. I've read some of it already. I've seen some of it. LeBron didn't take the shot.
Right.
A lot is, listen, it was crazy to me that people were like, all of a sudden, oh man, Bron gave this way, he didn't. And I'm sitting here like, did you not watch the foolishness between him and Jimmy Buckets down the street? Like, this was like nobody else on the floor, one-on-one. Like, you're in this game because of Bron.
Yeah.
Facts. And now people are turning around like, well, Bron didn't do this, and he shouldn't. I'm like, help him out. I'm gonna let you handle that, man. I'm gonna let you take that, because you are my NBA insider, man. Help the hot take society out, man. Please help him out.
I can appreciate people saying that and thinking that about LeBron, but again, I can say this as a point guard. When you get to the bucket, if you watch the play, he had 3 defenders on him, right? When you get to the bucket and you have 3 guys on you, and you kick it out to somebody and there isn't anybody within 10 feet of them, you have to kick that out and live with the results, right? And I certainly understand with, the great Dame Lillard said, and that's what he said. He said, LeBron made the right basketball play. I probably would have shot it, right? And CJ McCollum said the same thing, right? So I understand that. But for me, again, and I'm not trying to be an apologist for LeBron. He made the right basketball play. And
real quick, Antonio, because I'm glad you said that, because we can't say in one breath this guy's basketball IQ is off the chart, and then turn around and say, "Oh my God, he gave up the shot. He shouldn't have." Dude, the defense always collapse. All eyes are always on this dude, man.
all day long.
So y'all want him to just go take a, because if he take the shot, as Marlon just said, if he take the shot and miss it, oh God, LeBron not clutch.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's this he can't win, right? And we have seen other great players pass the ball out. We've seen them pass the ball to other people. We saw an offensive rebound go out to Robert Horry and him win a game with the Lakers, right? That's part of the reason why he gained that moniker, Big Shot Bob.
Big Shot
right?
Bob.
We've seen that. We've seen Steve Kerr. We've seen John Paxson, right? With MJ. We've seen that. So when these guys, and see, that's one of the, I can say this and being honest here, that's one of the byproducts. I don't even want to call it a curse, but that's one of the byproducts of when you see the game the way that you see the game, right? I can say this as a player for me. There were times where, many a time, especially when I was playing in college, many a times where it was like, I should just take this shot. But you see somebody that has a better shot and you give them the ball. And for me, LeBron made the right basketball play. I don't know if this is part of the discussion, and I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, so stop me if this is a question. But I want to talk about how is that play became the in a lot of people's mind, the onus of the Lakers losing this game, right? That became the catalyst for the Lakers losing this game. And the reality is there was a stretch, and you're talking about threes, right? There was a stretch in the third quarter when this game was a 4-point game. Miami was up 82-78, and I remember this distinctly. Miami's up 82-78 in the third. The Lakers are getting stops. And 5 or 6 straight times down the floor, they took threes. And they missed them all.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was indicative of the game that they were having. It was like 4 or 5 straight possessions where they took threes. And they missed every single one of them. They were down 4, and they were getting stops on the other end. The game was hanging in the balance there because you're getting stops and you're not converting. So if you want to say, as great as LeBron played, if you want to say something about that last instance, I probably would have preferred him when it was 82-78 and they were getting those stops in the third quarter. I would have preferred him to continue to get to the rim then, right? And because when I was watching that, I'm like, man, the game is hanging in the balance right here. Yeah. And sure enough, they end up losing by 3. Again, getting to my point about being more aggressive and not opting for the threes, right? Miami was 21-22 from the free throw line.
Right.
The game was 111-108, right? Mm-hmm. Miami was 21 of 22 from the free throw line. You know what the Lakers were? 18-22. There's the difference, right?
Oh my God.
Right?
Stop making sense, Antonio. Will you stop making sense?
There's the difference.
Man,
right?
will you stop making sense? Will you stop using facts?
Hey, we got to give the people real talk only, fam, right? So there's the difference. 82-78, get to the free throw line. Get to the free throw line. And I want to say something about what Marlon said. That comment that you just put up there. Appreciate that, Marlon. Thanks for being loyal to us, family. We appreciate you. So one of the things that you hear me say a lot, Hoop Fam, is players are starting to ascend from that good to great category, and they're putting themselves in that top 5, the top 10 category. Is getting to the free throw line, right?
Yeah.
That's what we talk about with Jason Tatum, right? We talk about that a lot with him. A guy that's averaging almost 5 free throws a game in the regular season. And in the games that the Celtics won in the playoffs, he was above that, almost in double figures. That's what the great ones do. They get those easy looks, especially when it's not going for them. They get to the free throw line.
That's how they get going.
MJ says the rim becomes a big old bucket, right?
Yeah, we're talking about like we're throwing rocks in the ocean.
That's what it is.
Throwing rocks in the ocean.
You see those free throws going in. So yesterday, Jimmy Butler went to the free throw line, I believe, 12 times yesterday and made all of them.
All of them.
Right? LeBron, I think, went to the free throw line only 6 times yesterday. Now he was making them. So all the more reason when this game was 82-78 in the third quarter, when the Lakers were down by 4, getting stops. Go to the cup, LeBron. You're making free throws now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got it going. You got it rolling. Go to the cup. And while it's even more important because AD was hobbled, right? And still got 28 and was hobbled.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is what we talked about was Rondo in facilitating mode. Everybody, again, we talk about playoff Rondo. It does not work, family, if he's not scoring. Right?
Yeah.
It does not for this team and this iteration of the Los Angeles Lakers. Playoff Rondo, and I know he gets credit for seeing the game and all the things that he does. But, and I'm saying this as a point guard, Hoop fam, that should have been more aggressive in college, right? So he should have been much more aggressive as a scorer. And that's the only way it works. Then that gives LeBron a break.
Right.
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 And then I think, no, let's go to the next question because I don't want to get ahead of myself. Because if this is a question, I want you to answer because I got something else I want to say about the Lakers in this series and moving forward.
No, you're accurate because so just this was the only thing, and I said this coming down the stretch of this game because I think one of the biggest parts of this game at the end was the officiating.
Yep.
And the officiating at one point they kind of like, listen, if you look like you got fouled, they were calling it.
Right.
We pretty much we've watched LeBron for 17 years.
Yep.
We pretty much know if he goes to the hole and he does any little jerky movement, he gonna get the foul.
Right.
They are gonna whistle, and he's such an ox that you know he gonna put it up. You know he gonna get the ball up on the glass, up to the rim. That like that. Now I did kind of say, well, you know what? Hey, referee so ticky-tacky, just go lay it on LeBron because you're gonna get the call.
Facts.
But they were giving it to Jimmy Butler, so you know you're gonna get the call, LeBron.
Facts.
You know you're gonna get it. So that was really like my only thing. Like I didn't go on the deep end. Like, oh my God, LeBron is not clutch.
Yeah, that's not valid, brother.
Because we know when we talk about goatness and all these things. MJ was the recipient of 2 of those rings because he dribbled, drew the defense, and he kicked at the guys who made it. Which goes back to something we said last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. LeBron and AD gonna get theirs. The Lakers don't have a third guy. So to me, their third guy is always a collection of what those guys do.
Right.
With the wins they've had in these finals, collectively, the bench was, on point. KCP, Dwight, all of these guys, they are the third guy. Because you can't sit here and say, because everybody been telling us Kuzma is that dude, and we now know he's not that.
That was my point that I wanted to bring up. So I'm glad
Let's go.
So that's why I didn't want to get ahead of myself. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. Great minds. Jeff, appreciate you joining and being loyal as well. So The thing about Kyle Kuzma is, and this takes me back again, this is when I was watching the Bulls and really coming into my understanding of basketball as a player, young guy coming into understanding the game more. Right. And watching it on a different level. I remember one of the things that the Bulls used to do. When the Bulls traded for Bill Cartwright and they won their first ring, when they traded Charles Oakley, and that made the GOAT Michael Jordan mad, right? When they did that, remember one of the things they used to do was they would go first play of the game, always went to Bill Cartwright. The first play of the game, it was almost like we hear about Bill Walsh in the West Coast offense where they script their first 15 plays, right? The Bulls would script the play, and everybody knew that they were going to do it. But their execution was so crisp, it didn't matter, right? Everybody knew the first play of the game went to Bill Cartwright.
All the time.
Because what it did was it made him feel involved, right? With those two dominant wings and Pippen and Jordan, it made him feel involved, right? Rodman getting all the rebounds. It made him feel involved.
Right.
That's why they did it. Because what did Horace Grant, when he left, what was one of the things he complained, man, I wish I had a bigger role.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Bill Cartwright felt like he was involved. And you know what that did? It helped them on the defensive end when he felt like he was involved.
Because he played better.
Exactly. So as a point guard, I knew my guys that, man, I know at some point I'm going to need this guy to help us down the stretch. So in order to make him feel like he's part of it, or in order to get him the guard, I got to get him the ball early. So if you watch the Lakers and you watch the games where Kyle Kuzma's played well on both ends of the floor, because one of the things where people criticize, one of the criticisms about Kyle Kuzma is who can he guard? Well, during the bubble and in the playoffs, he's been adequate defensively. He's been pretty good, right? And the first game when they played the Clippers, in the seeding games, when they played the Clippers in that first game, and he was dialed in defensively, guarding Kawhi, guarding Paul George, right? The reason why he was doing that is because they went to him early. So the adjustment is when he gets in the game, you got to get him a shot.
Now he dialed in.
Now he's dialed in.
He's dialed in.
Right? You got to get him a shot.
Yeah.
So the adjustment with Rondo, with LeBron, with the coaching staff is you got to know when this dude gets in, we got to get him one. We got to get him one. Immediately.
Make him feel like he wanted out here.
That's exactly right. We got to get him one.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's all the Cleveland Browns doing for Odell Beckham, everybody.
That's it.
It's the same thing, man.
There it is. You got it. There it is.
Get these guys quiet, man. Get them involved. Now they're not a distraction.
Right. Because, and we making a football reference, as we know, and we had this discussion yesterday, right? Most receivers don't have the mentality of Jerry Rice.
Nah.
Right? Nah. They just don't have that mentality. Or of Michael Irvin, where I'm the playmaker, but even with me being a playmaker, if it's Emmett's turn to run the ball for 35 carries,
I'm blocking.
I'm good with it. As long as we win and I'm good with it. Most of these guys aren't wired like that, right?
Yeah.
So
sensitive, man. They sensitive. Rav Tresvant.
Yeah. You need a man. You need
out here, Rav Tresvant. Y'all stop.
Right. So with that being said, it is you got to know that. So they got to know that they got to get him a look early, right? Yeah. Get him a couple looks early. So then he feels like he's part of it. Then he's guarding on the other end. He's doing all that, right? And so you got to make him feel like he's involved. And then the other thing too, don't let me get ahead of myself. You
good. Go roll, man. I got you, man. I got you.
The other thing too is you probably, we talked about this. I've said this a lot when they signed when they signed Markieff Morris. I said they're going to need this dude at some point because of the offensive configurations that they have when they go down the stretch and they go to AD at the 5.
Yeah.
When they go to AD at the 5, right? They need, especially if they're playing against teams and those other teams go small, they need somebody at the 4 that is a competent scorer, right? And the games where Markieff has played well in, the Lakers have won, right? And because of exactly what we're talking about, he's hit timely threes. He's done that because of exactly and so the Lakers went to that lineup again, and there was more of an emphasis on him doing that because AD was hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they really needed him. And now, and we talk about this a lot, experience matters in this regard, because if you don't think experience matters, one thing we know about Markieff Morris is he's not a mark, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
On that last possession, on that second to last possession, or that last possession, when he got that offensive rebound tipped out to him and he threw the ball to AD.
Yeah.
Tell me, Mace, again, this is a guy that this is the first time in his career he's been on a deep playoff run.
Yeah, man.
Tell me if he was experienced.
That would be a negative, sir. That would be a negative.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that thing like a hot potato in his hand.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. He got it. It was like, I got to get rid of this thing.
I don't want this on me. I don't want this. No,
exactly. Exactly. Right. Exactly. So now we're seeing it. And we saw this with the Clippers. And now we're seeing this now where, and we all talked about, man, I wonder how it's going to be when there's no crowd. And it's like, look, this is very similar to when you are playing in the gym. This is how we're dating ourselves, right? When you playing in the gym and there's one court, now there's this gym or this park may have 3 or 4 full courts, but for some reason, everybody wants to play and congregate on one.
Boy.
Right? So you got 10 guys playing, you got 40 people waiting.
Boy.
Right?
If you lose, you might not get back on the floor today.
And there is no sign-up list. Right? There is no next 5 play.
Who got it?
There it is.
If I got him.
Yep.
I will take you.
Exactly. It's literally one person got next, and you got people on the floor that are playing that are sensing that they're about to lose and saying to the guy on the side, "Hey, dog, pick me up next."
When they're running back up the floor, hey, I'm gonna play D. I can D him up. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Right. So I'm referencing that because there's no crowd there, right? But when you get to game point and you got is win by 2 or straight 16, whatever the score you play, right? When it's game point, no crowd, that pressure is immense if you've never been in that situation.
Dude, it's like your 21 days when you want 19, you want to miss that free throw so you can just hit a 2, because it's hard to win from that line right there, man.
It's hard to go to that line and win, right? That's what it's like. That's what. So crowd or no crowd, and if you watch Markieff, that got to him last night,
dude.
Right?
Hey, man.
That got to him last night.
Hot potato.
No
listen.
question.
I said as soon as that thing rimmed out to him, his eyes, dude, he was like, "Oh no, because y'all not gonna say, dude, you blew the game."
No,
we
right,
really kind of
right,
did, but you know what I'm saying? Because that pass he threw, he could have threw that to Atlanta.
Yeah.
He threw that thing back to Interstate 4 down there in Atlanta. I was like, what is that?
Right. That thing was so you know that experience, right? Because he had never been in this situation before, and so that certainly, you know, because again, and the reason why that experience matters, right? And I'm gonna say this because I know people look at, say, the players with the Heat with Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Kendrick Nunn, and even Jimmy Butler, you know, making it to this far in the playoffs. People will say, well, maybe the experience doesn't matter with them. There's a difference. Here's the difference. Remember the point that I made about Duncan Robinson? Mm-hmm. Shoot the ball every time, right? Mm-hmm. When you have that green light, guess what happens? People play through your mistakes in real time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You're not looking over your shoulder, dude.
Right.
It's never worrying when that horn goes off that it's coming for you.
Exactly right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly right.
I like that because we had a guy at my high school, Marquise Hicks. Kiki for 3 was his nickname. Kiki had the green. Listen, Kiki can shoot from 60 feet. And hey, they live with that.
Here's what it is. We live with that.
They live with that, and he was able to play with a freedom that paid dividends in points of the game. Because once he got rolling, the dude came out the bench averaging about 25.
That's it. Yeah.
And like I say, dude, he could take. It was no such thing as a bad shot for this guy.
Facts.
Certain guys, to your point with Duncan Robinson, dude, it's not a bad shot for you. Tyler Hero, those are not bad, dog. That fall away left foot thing you be doing, it's not a bad shot for you, dog. We expect you to shoot that.
Absolutely. So when you are Markieff Morris, Danny Green, right? When you're one of those guys, and this game I get 5 looks. This game I get 1 look or 2 looks, and it's the most important looks of the game. There's a lot of pressure with that, right? And even when you are working out in the gym, you can't simulate that.
No, sir.
You can't replicate that pressure, right?
Because in the gym, you're gonna get 100 shots.
No question.
You get 100 shots.
No doubt. You cannot replicate that pressure, right? So that's one of the reasons why I can say this, and that's one of the reasons why we heard the great Kobe Bryant say this. No question, Lisa, the Lakers are feeling it, no doubt. Appreciate you being loyal as well. So one of the things that the great Kobe Bryant would say is when you ask him, who is my favorite teammate to play with? Unequivocally, Derek Fisher. Because Derek Fisher was like that. Now think about how difficult this is. I'm saying this as a point guard, right? How difficult it is to be a point guard and you don't get the ball to get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Right? You're not a rhythm guy. Because as a point guard, me touching the ball every possession down the floor it gets me into a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All right, I'm bringing it up. I threw a pass. Okay, I threw it away. All right, fine. I'm going to get it and bring it back up again.
Dude,
right? I saw something.
Yeah.
I threw that pass away, but I saw something.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to attempt it again, but I'm going to do it differently. Right? When you play with a great wing guy like that, like a LeBron, like a Kobe, like a Kawhi, it is hard to be a rhythm guy because you may not get into a rhythm. So one of the things that Ray Allen, if you looked at when they brought the big 3 together in Boston, Ray Allen was the guy that sacrificed the most in terms of his looks.
Yeah.
So as they were establishing themselves, one of the things that people would wonder is like, man, what's going on with Ray Allen? Well, he's not getting 16 looks a game to get into a rhythm.
The offense not centered around him anymore.
Not centered around him anymore. Yeah. So you can't miss your first 3 or 4 shots to get into a rhythm. So Derek Fisher used to maximize his moments. He's playing with Kobe and Shaq, 1 and 2 in the league in scoring. Right? 1 and 2 in the league in scoring. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to get many looks. But when I do, what did he say?
What?
Right? I may not drink a lot, but when I do, right? so that's a hard job. That's a hard job.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult job. I used to think about this a lot. Real talk on it. I used to think about this a lot. When MJ would play, I used to think a lot about, because people would say, man, if you are MJ's backup, that's the easiest job in the league. And I used to think about it. Okay, it's like theoretically, yes. Let's talk about this from a practical standpoint, fam. If you are backing up a guy like that and you're giving him a rest and he is this offensive force that he is, you come in the game and you're his backup, you miss your first 2 looks, guess what's going to happen?
Well, that horn going off.
There you go. There you go. Facts.
And you already know it.
You already know.
You ain't even got to look.
You ain't even got. You just start. And Mace, and you see guys doing that, right? And how many times have you seen a guy do that? They'll miss 1 or 2 looks, right? They're Michael or Kobe's backup, miss 1 or 2 looks, immediately start going to the bench, and then they'll look up and they'll be like, "No, not you. Oh, my bad," and they run back on the floor, right?
They know.
because they know.
Oh, that one for me this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I know the next one for me though.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Miss one more shot.
Right. That is a hard job.
Yeah,
that is a hard job. When
Phil be down there like,
yeah.
Go get him.
Yeah.
Go get him, man.
In fact, to your point, in fact, when Kobe and Mike and when those guys are doing that, in fact, Phil doesn't even look down the bench. The dude who missed 1 or 2 shots, they immediately at the scoring table.
Yeah.
That's the real talk. That's how it really goes down, right? Like, they're already at the scoring table.
That's crazy.
And
that's those are facts right there.
That's how it really goes down. So when you're in that role, it is hard, man. It is very, very hard when the team is not. So again, not taking anything away from Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, and Tyler Hero, because any young guy that's on this stage and you don't succumb to that pressure is a major, major accomplishment. But when the team is going to play through your mistakes, it's a little bit easier than if you are getting, 5 looks and all of your looks are critical looks.
Yeah.
So Derek Fisher mastered that. And again, from a guy that was close to leading the league and leading the nation in scoring at Arkansas Little Rock, this dude switched his game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we know he can score. I mean,
facts.
But that's not what they asked him to do.
Not what they asked him to do. And think about this: those teams that the Lakers had that won titles with Kobe and Shaq were actually less talented than the teams that they had when Kobe and Shaq and Derek Fisher came in 96. In 96, it was Kobe, Shaq, Derek Fisher come to the team that already has Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones, man.
Eddie Jones. Slasher Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, Eldon Campbell, right?
Yeah.
Rick Fox, Doug Christie. The Lakers were loaded.
They were loaded.
Probably too loaded. Right?
People don't want to hear that. But this, now this one, because we talk real talk. I hadn't heard anybody say this blue check mafia, all the hot take artists. One of the biggest factors in last night's game, and I circled this soon as the stat sheet came out. 19 turnovers by the Lakers last night.
Yep.
I hadn't heard not one person, all the hot takes in the world. 19 turnovers from the Lakers.
Absolutely.
You're not in a hard fought close game. You can't give away possessions, and the Lakers gave it away 19 times last night. That's why they could never really bridge their gap, even though they took a quick lead. But 19 turnovers will kill you, kill anybody. It'll kill any of those Chicago Bulls teams, any of the Bill Russell teams. Name a dynasty. You can't turn over ball 19 times, especially in a closeout game.
Yeah, and expect to win. So you spot on. You cannot do that. And to your point, in that critical juncture that I've been talking about a lot, in addition to missing those threes in the third quarter, know what else they were doing? Turning the ball over, right? So you got a chance to bridge the gap, and really you're getting your stops on the other end. And you turning the ball over, you're shooting threes, not getting to the free throw line, and turning the ball over. So you are spot on with that. Spot on with that. Again, and that's a little bit unexpected with Rondo and LeBron. But LeBron with as a whatever he did and all that he did, I don't know if you could ask much more from that. And then to your point about turning the ball over, there was another stretch during that game, but I think this was down the stretch in the fourth, where LeBron and talking about turnovers, I thought they were headed for another very critical stretch. LeBron was bringing the ball up on the wing. He was on the left-hand side of the floor, bringing the ball up, and he hopped in the air and threw the ball. He just threw it. I don't know if you remember that play. And he got bailed out, right? Yeah. I think AD or Dwight, somebody just caught the ball. But he was literally bringing the ball up and just jumped in the air with nowhere to go.
Yeah. And they tell you that in Little League.
Don't do that.
Do not get up in the air.
Right. And so I literally was thinking when he did, I was like, what is he doing? Right. Yeah. And that's the first thing that went to, because I even said it. I'm watching the game like, man, what's LeBron? Where's he throwing the ball? Yeah. And he got bailed out. Right. Yeah. And that's the stuff that I expect to see when LeBron is not making free throws, right? But he was making free throws. He had it going last night. And the other thing is, and I've said this before, real talk only, fam. And I want to answer Marlon's question about Danny Green. But I want to say this about LeBron. Real talk only, hoop fam. This is putting on my scouting cap looking at LeBron. If you've heard me say this before, this is not a LeBron criticism, because I love LeBron as a player. I love even more the things that he does off the floor. This is not a LeBron criticism. This is just me scouting. Every transcendent player has things that you can look at and say they can do that better, right? Magic Johnson, his Achilles heel at one point was shooting the ball. Boy. So he got that push shot jumper from three. Because people used to criticize him about that, right?
We lay off him. We lay off Magic. Shoot, Magic.
Exactly. So there's a criticism for every guy, right? So we don't want to. So from a stylistic standpoint, not a statistical standpoint, you've heard, we have said this before, family, how I've said when the opposing team is getting stops, and that stops LeBron from getting into the open floor and being able to buffalo you, how difficult it is for him to score in the half court, because he doesn't have the requisite footwork to be a punisher in the post or in the mid post, where he can use jab steps and pump fakes without dribbles and score. He doesn't have that in his game, right? He doesn't have impeccable footwork where you can just post him on the block, where it's going to be a bucket or foul or both. Yeah. Right.
He's a runner. He's right. He's an open court guy.
Right.
Get him the ball, and when he on the move, now his athleticism is what kill you.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. Man. So when he gets in the half court, and you see this happening, right? When he gets in the half court, even when he's backing guys down, look at how many dribbles it takes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And with all of those, so again, that's stylistically. This is not statistically. This is from a style standpoint, right? What happens is all of those dribbles, the Heat are already connected defensively, right? It allows their defense to just continue to focus on him and literally clog up the paint, because he's taking all of these dribbles to get to places.
Just beating the flow up with the ball.
Right.
And he's gonna hit you with that one leg follower.
Right.
It's coming.
Right. So there is no right. There is no, if you watch Kobe again, you can be a bricklayer or you can be a surgeon.
No.
Right. You can be either one. There is no surgical part of it where you start looking at his footwork in the post, where you start looking at And this is a difficult thing to do. Melo is a master at this. This is why he's able to continue to go. Melo can get things done without a dribble, right?
ISO Melo.
Right. He can get stuff done without a dribble. So whether he's on the perimeter or whether you throw it to him in the post, doesn't need a dribble, right? Obviously, Kobe could do this. Obviously, Mike could do this. You know, quiet is kept. A dude that's from your city, right? I think he's from Atlanta. No, maybe he's from he's not, from Tennessee. A dude that's from Tennessee, right? That was incredible without using dribbles. And watch him, if Hoop Fan, you don't believe me, pull up some of the clips. Allen Houston, incredible without using dribbles.
Would just go up.
And if you using jab steps and pump fakes to get people off balance, right?
Just go up. Just go up.
So one of the things that I teach when I'm working with kids, and this is, again, one of my things, right? When you have a defender in front of you and you are utilizing, you can use jab steps and pump fakes to get open, to create space to get a shot without using a dribble. Right. What you have to do is be deliberate with your footwork. If your defender is standing in front of you, you can almost slice that defender in three. One side, the middle, and the other side. Whatever move that you make has to make that defender move. If you step in the middle, he's got to move back, right? If you step to the right, they got to move to their left. If you jab step to your left, they got to move to the right. So whatever you do, if you're deliberate in that footwork, if you make that defender move, you just take advantage of the opposite thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they move this way, now you got all of this on the right.
Right.
So, that's deep diving. But I'm just saying, when you are very efficient and you can do those things, now that defender has to react to every move that you make. And even if you don't step right or left, guess what? If you step in the middle, you're stepping right in that defender's groin area. Nobody wants to get hit there. So if you Ron James and you step there, guess what that guy's going to do? Move all the way back. Right? So now you got a shot or you got a pump fake. Now they have to move forward and you go right past.
Go right by him.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not part of LeBron's game. So when they get in the half court, if AD is hobbled, the Lakers are hobbled in the half court.
Majorly.
Right?
Majorly.
If AD is hobbled. And so now you are literally reduced to depending on Danny Green, KCP, Markieff Morris to hit shots. And
not a good recipe.
And there you go. That's where and at least when AD is going, they have a little diversity in their offense.
A lot of flexibility because that guy can get it from anywhere.
Right.
That dude, he get it from anywhere.
Right. So that's the deal with LeBron from a stylistic standpoint. And I say this as a guy that likes LeBron a whole lot. And he got 40 last night, right?
A 40 piece, everybody.
He got you 40 last night.
But y'all talking about that guy ain't no killer. Hey, he don't have no killer instinct.
Yeah.
Man, they've been in the finals every year this decade, man. Y'all stop.
And he was the reason why they were still within, shouting distance. He's the reason why, right? And so I just say that again, that's just me breaking down his game, not a criticism. It is just me breaking down his game, right? And so back to Danny Green for what Marlon was saying. Again, going back to that original point, like I do think when you are a shooter, I do think when you watch Danny Green shoot that ball, you hit it, Marlon, and we've all been there as players before, where you just don't have it rolling and you're shooting the ball and you're hoping that it goes in. Yeah. That's completely different than knowing that it's going in.
Yeah.
And when he shot the ball, if you look at his body language after he left his hand, it's almost like he's trying to guide it in.
Yeah, try to put the English on it.
Right. Exactly. Because when he shot it in his mind, that didn't look like a confident.
It didn't feel good.
It didn't feel good.
It feels
right?
good.
And then the other thing I'm going to say too, I'll say this, Marlon, and this is one of the things for me as a player. And I have a really good teammate that was a brother of mine that we lost from a heart ailment way too early. And when we used to play, he used to say when we were in practice, he used to say to the other guys about me, stop guarding him so hard, because when you get on him, he's going to dial in and make a shot. Leave him wide open. Leave him. Don't even go near him. Right? And so I say that for a reason, because as we say, there's a right answer, there's a wrong answer, and there's a real answer. Real talk only, #RTO. And this is one of the things that, as you say, maybe the blue check guys don't talk about. How difficult it is to make a shot when nobody is within 10 feet of you.
In football terms, everybody, how many times have you seen a wide open receiver drop the ball?
There we go.
Dog, you don't have to concentrate.
There we go. That's exactly right.
Now, when hands and all this stuff out, you lock in.
You lock in. You lock in.
It's the same principle, everybody. How many times you see somebody run down the middle of the field wide open? They relax.
They relax.
Fundamentals gone.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's basically what you're talking about right there.
That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what it is. How difficult it is. You're a guy that you're not a rhythm guy, meaning that the Lakers aren't going to live through you missing your first 4 or 5 shots. You're not that guy. Yeah. And most guys aren't that guy. Let's be honest, right? But secondly, you're not a rhythm guy. And then B, the second thing is there is psychology involved with making a wide open shot, right? And that is very, very, very difficult. And I'm not trying to be an apologist for Danny Green, but I'm just telling you the facts. And most people don't talk about that. Oh man, he was wide open. These are a lot of people that have never played this game before that say that.
You go hit, like I always say, you go hit the shot then. You go hit it.
Right. And, and people and Snoop Dogg putting D Green on notice. You got 48 hours. Snoop Dogg, if I'm not mistaken, put out a post and called this man out of his name. Right?
Snoop, you go hit that shot, Snoop.
When you wide open like that, right?
I want you to freestyle, Snoop. I want you to get in the game. I want you to knock that down, Snoop.
Exactly. That's right. Right. And so again, people can say, oh man, that's a wide open shot. Okay. All right. And it's a reason why we talked about this. Because, and when my teammate used to say that about me, he was absolutely right. And because if you watch Mike, if you watch Kobe, if you watch all of these guys that are great shot makers, right? What did Paul George say about Dame when Dame effectively broke up the OKC Thunder, right? Wow. The latest iteration of them with Paul, with PG and Russ. Mm-hmm. What did he say? He said that was a bad shot.
Yeah.
Right.
But he also is the bad shot master.
Exactly right.
That's what he do.
That's the point, right? That being that bad shot master and shooting that shot when there's nobody within 10 feet of you.
That's his shot.
Right. And then shooting that shot when somebody, that this dude is going to try to contest that shot. Yeah. You dial in more. You're more about your fundamentals, right? You think of all those things, you really lock in. I've been there before where it's I got a wide open shot and I'm looking at myself, man, like, why did I miss this shot? Right? Or how many times have we seen this? Make a basketball reference for big guys. We see this with Dwight. We've seen this with AD. We saw this with LeBron. LeBron got an M1 like this last night. LeBron drove to the rim and missed a wide open layup. Got the rebound. Guys are all over him and put it up and made the M1. We see that a lot. We see that a lot. They'll miss a wide open layup, get an offensive rebound, dudes hanging all on them, and they make the and one. Yeah. So I think that's what happened with Danny Green. And he's not a rhythm guy. He's not a guy that's we're gonna live through you missing your first 3 or 4 so you can start feeling good about yourself. He's not that guy. So that's a very difficult shot for a guy like that.
That's crazy, man. We're gonna close with this because I don't think this guy will. He's starting to get Jimmy Butler getting love, but I don't think the way he's putting up these points in this new era of the NBA. It's a couple of things I jotted down, and I want people to understand this, and I want you just to elaborate on this a little bit. So Jimmy Butler, so he's averaging 29, 10, and 8.
Yep.
In these playoffs.
LeBron.
Everybody. I want y'all to understand this, though. This guy is doing this, and he's not shooting threes. He has only attempted 11 3-pointers in this entire NBA Finals.
Yep.
So he is getting points the old school way.
Facts.
Everybody understand this. And Antonio is my witness. When the bubble started, I picked who to go to the NBA Finals, Antonio.
Miami Heat.
I picked the Miami Heat. And one of the reasons I picked the Miami Heat, everybody, is because this Jimmy Butler cat is different, man. He's totally different, man.
Yep.
So in closing, Antonio, just give this dude the proper love, man.
No question. He deserves his flowers, man. So to your point about Jimmy Butler, and what it is I read the way that Jimmy Butler does his thing, that resonates with me because that's how I did my thing, right? All the way to the cup, or 1-2 dribbles, just elevate over somebody in the mid-range. That's how I did my thing, right? And I say that for a reason. Because when you get to this point and you're playing for a title, when you get to this point, again, let's take Golden State. What made Golden State so dominant, and I'm not even talking about the 73-9. I'm talking about the 7-foot monster Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors, is adding to Klay and Steph. You got a 7-footer that can handle the ball and get a shot in the mid-range and get a shot at the rim. That's what made them different. So the analytics people can go to threes and layups. Mace, let's be honest with this. Part of the reason why they people are championing they champion threes and layups is because they want to make greatness in this game accessible to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody can do what Jimmy Butler is doing in the mid-range. Not everybody can do what Kevin Durant does in the mid-range. Mm-hmm. Not everybody can do what Kawhi does in the mid-range, right? So, but everybody can, at least in their mind, shoot a open three, right? Questionable, and shoot a layup. So they're trying to make access and greatness in this game accessible to everybody. They're trying to remove advantages, right? Mm. That's part of this. So, but the problem with that is no matter how much you do that, when you play against a great team and you playing for all the marbles, undoubtedly, if you make it to the finals or you make a deep run in the playoffs, the team that you're playing against is going to be a pretty good defensive team.
Without a doubt.
So you got to be able to get something done at all three levels. Again, back to the point. If we want to talk about LeBron, that's not his game. Mm. So when the Lakers can't get stops and AD doesn't give them the diversity from an offensive standpoint, they become stagnant and predictable offensively because they don't have a 1-2 dribble pull-up guy. They don't have one of those. Jimmy Butler can get a bucket on anybody as a 1-2 dribble pull-up guy in the mid-range. right? In the mid-range. And he's strong enough to get to the bucket as well to take a foul and make those free throws so he can get an and one or get 2 free throws at the very least. So what he's doing is not, and people say, oh man, it's a throwback. No, it's not a throwback. That's always the formula to being great. Yeah. That hasn't changed. I don't care how many threes and layups you shoot.
and he's doing this like now they're throwing everybody at him, and he just continues to the dude just get buckets, man. And kind of when we kind of opened the show with it, and it's like people couldn't understand why he would leave an Embiid and a Simmons to kind of take this show down to Miami, but it's like now we're you can see it now, and through all of the trips he's made, like say Minnesota, Chicago, saying it's like look at the hard work that this guy has put in, and he has a team on this stage right here, right now, dude. I know everybody waiting on the coordination, but for one night, Jimmy Butler say, "Hold my bill, everybody."
Exactly.
Hold my bill.
So to your point, man, when these finals started, I made a post and I took some Drake lyrics that really resonated with me about one Jimmy Butler. And the lyrics are making major changes to the life I'm living. I had no choice. I had to prove I made the right decision. Right. And that what you talking about, choosing that organization and going there, is he proved that he made the right decision. That's why it resonated with me, him doing that. And so again, the formula to being great and to winning, and it doesn't change, right? And going back to when we would watch Mike when we would watch Mike with the Bulls, and they were playing the Knicks. The reason why the Knicks were always eliminated by the Bulls is because the Knicks didn't have a guy that could do what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They didn't have a guy that could now, and I respected John Starks a lot. You know why? Because he said to Mike, I know you're better than me, but you're gonna have to prove it every single night.
Dude,
right?
Out the mud, baby.
Right.
John Starks, the young folks said, man, he got out the mud, man.
Got it out, there's no question, man. And so I respected him, but he wasn't a shot fabricator like that I'm scoring at all 3 levels. Yeah. Now I'm gonna make this open 3. I can get to the rim and I'm gonna bang on you. Yeah. But give the ball to John Starks and isolate and make something happen, then I'm just gonna pull up. Not his game.
No,
right?
So very, very streaky. That dude was streaky. But like you said, yeah, okay, John. Go left and pull up on me right there.
Right.
You can't do that, John.
Right.
Nah. So a lot of guys not doing that out there.
They're not doing that. And so, again, in this analytics era, and I get it. And as I say that, I worked in scouting for the Boston Red Sox, Mace. A lot of analytics stuff because you can quantify all of the elements of baseball. The parks aren't the same. Day and night games, right? Mm-hmm. Left hand, right hand pitching. Then you have that. What's your average, or how should we pitch to you when we have guys on base in a day or night game? Right. So all of these different things you can quantify leads to a lot of leaning on analytics. So I know that world. I know it very well from playing baseball as well as working in baseball. But with this basketball stuff, man, you still got to have a guy that, no matter what a team throws at you from a defensive standpoint, I can still get something done. And it doesn't matter if you guys know that I'm going to get it done or not. And Jimmy Butler is turning into a guy. And I'm going to leave it like this, brother. When you win a title, right? This is part of the reason why Orlando never won a title when Dwight was there. And I'm just going to, again, this is real talk only. It's part of the reason why Orlando never won a title when Dwight was there is because as great as Dwight was when he was in Orlando, think about this. The teams that they were going to have to play to win a title did not have to do anything special from a defensive standpoint to guard Dwight. So if they were playing the Celtics didn't have to double Dwight, right?
Yeah.
They guard him with Kendrick Perkins straight up.
Right.
Or Garnett straight up, right? If they played the Lakers or the Spurs, whatever team they were going to face, if they made it out of the East, the Lakers or the Spurs could guard Dwight Howard straight up. They didn't require a double team that gets an easier look for somebody else, right? Jimmy Butler is moving into that category where you have to do something special defensively to guard him. Case in point, I'm going to say this about LeBron as well. Again, not a hot take. This is just what I saw. On that those game-winning free throws that Butler made that put Miami up 3. When LeBron guarded him on that possession, if you look at the highlight, LeBron didn't fight to get over the screen.
Nah.
Right? And this is real talk. This is not a hot take. This is not me criticizing LeBron. If I like LeBron, I'm going to say, I'm also going to say the other thing that, you know, from a standpoint that I felt like he could have done better. If you watch that highlight, he did not fight over that screen. Right? And when you're watching, again, one of the things that I did, I was a defensive guy. So what I would do I knew how to fight over screens. So I would force guys to use the screen, right? Because now I'm not going to give you the opportunity to turn the screen down. Because if I force you to use the screen, now I know which way you're going, right? I know exactly where you're going because I'm going to shade you using this screen today, dog. Right? and it ain't no you turning it down and then you see this guy screening me and I'm guarding you straight up and I'm giving you the option to either use the screen, which is what I'm anticipating, fighting over through contact, or if I'm guarding you straight up, you can fake like you're using the screen and cross me up and go to the other side, right? I'm going to aggressively make you use the screen and I'm going to fight over it. I don't think LeBron fought over that screen as much as he should have, right? If you're going to take that challenge and knowing that Jimmy Butler is about to create something and you feel the screen coming, you got to, 1, make him use it, and 2, fight over it. And I don't know too many people, man, with LeBron's strength. I don't know too many people that want to stand there and take that contact.
No, sir. Listen, that's a big old joker, man. I got this. I'm about to repost this video when the Lakers were here. And that joker, we were in the tunnel, and he was coming off, and he took off his t-shirt. And he, was gonna throw it to somebody in the crowd. Man, this is a big old dude, and I'm always sitting there like amazed that somebody that big can move like this. This dude moves like a 6'6" guy, man.
So to your point, he's part of that club of those guys. And I want to answer Emmanuel's question. I appreciate you, brother. He's part of those guys that we are tight about, right? That, man, how's this dude 6'9"? Man, look, when he was in Miami, when I was working in Nike basketball, now he's smaller now than he was then.
Right. Yeah, he done slimmed up a lot. Yeah.
Hey, he started the season at 6'9", 276 pounds. And I'm not joking with you.
Dude, and this is a 4'4" guy we talking about.
So that's what I was gonna say. When you are in the gym with him, right? So at Skills, we're in the gym when we would be in Akron at Skills Academy before the NCAA said you can't have these types of academies at Division I campuses because it's considered a recruiting advantage. We used to have it in Akron before we moved to Chicago. Then we moved to New Jersey at Keene with Kyrie, right? Again, you can't have them at Division I because all the high school prospects are high-level Division I prospects.
Right. That's a recruiting trip.
Right. So at Skills, so when as a Nike basketball guy, I was fortunate to not, and I saw this at ESPN when I was working at ESPN, and I want to get to Emmanuel's question. And I want to say a couple things about LeBron. Appreciate you for staying with us, Hoop Fam. when I was at ESPN scouting, I used to have to sit in the stands and watch skills.
Mm-hmm.
When I became a Nike basketball guy, I was on the floor with the other Nike basketball guys up close and personal with LeBron.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this. When you're up close and personal with LeBron, the floor sounds different when this dude is out there.
Yeah,
it
man.
sounds different, right? Because when I was at Nike, we changed the basketball game by getting guys to wear low-top shoes. It was lighter through Kobe, right?
Yeah, this dude can't wear no low tops.
There you go. Because people would ask, man, why are these LeBrons like this? Like, man, do you know what these shoes would look like after a game with this dude? The type of force that this dude exerts on a pair of shoes? You know what these would look like, right? So we can't do that with him. And so the other thing is very similar to Dominique Wilkins in this regard. You said about how he's moving, right? So I'm going to say this. When you're in the scouting game, I'm not in physiology, but when you're in the scouting game and you're in it enough and you play, you start to understand body types more,
dude.
Right? And you start to understand, even when you're watching somebody's gait, how they walk, right? You start understanding that. And so when you look at LeBron, when you look at Kevin Durant, and you watch how those guys walk, they walk like me at 6'1", right? If you want to see a real big man, now Anthony Davis is very agile. Look how Anthony Davis was walking when he was hurt. He was walking like a big man.
Yeah.
Right? He was walking like a big man, right? So the thing with LeBron, and this is a guy in your city that's just like this. Mace, what size shoe does Dominique Wilkins wear?
They were like 14, 16, something like that. Yeah.
You know what that would actually be? Like a 12.
Right. For somebody 6'8". Yeah.
So LeBron wears like a 13 and a half, 14 shoe.
Right, dude.
Right?
No.
So
this is why he runs a 4.4.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
That's why. Right?
Physical freak, dog.
So a guy that's 6'9", 276, you expect 17s, 18s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right? I would think LeBron wear 18 shoe. That shocked me when I saw what size shoe LeBron wore.
13 and a half, 14.
It made me laugh, dog. Like,
right.
This dude don't wear 18?
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And think about this. So the same thing when you think about, right, when you think about Michael Jordan. Look at how big his hands were. And this dude wore 13 or 14 in a shoe. Dude. That's why he was able to do the things that he's able to do. Right?
Oh, by the way, nobody in his family was over 6'1".
Right. Because most people that have hands that size and all that, these are 18, 19 shoes. So they run like they're mad at the floor.
Yeah.
Right? That's right. So they run like they're mad at the floor. But LeBron, literally, this dude wears like a size 14.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And to put that in perspective, I have a narrow foot, so I have to go down to like 12s. But my foot on the scale is a 13. So, like, so you look at it, it's again part of the reason why I'm tight about, man. It's like, man, go sit down somewhere, man.
Yeah,
like,
man. You should be able to do those type things, man.
Right. So
you're killing me, Smalls.
Right. So I'll say this, man. I want to wrap it up because I want to address Emmanuel because I appreciate you staying with me, family. Stand with us. So to a certain extent, yes, analytics is ruining the game to a certain extent because it's taking the creativity out of the game. Right. What do we like about Jimmy Butler? What he's doing in the mid-range and getting to the rim? That's creativity.
Right.
And not everybody can do that. So they are trying to make this thing where everybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And case in point, if you don't think that matters, let's take this to another game. When you're on that green, when you're talking about golf, this was a sport, right, that is so averse to change that people that look like you and I, Mace, at a bunch of these country clubs were not allowed in. Women were not allowed in, right? So this is a sport that doesn't change anything. It's all about tradition, 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 right? Some dude named Eldrick Tiger Woods came, and the sport became more popular than it ever became in the history of the game.
Big
right?
bombs.
They were making more money than they were ever making in the history of the game, right?
The tour thanks him.
But what did they start doing? Tigerizing the courses.
Yeah, let's make these holes longer.
There you go.
Yeah.
So everybody can win now.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
right.
Let's take his advantage out of it, because
there you go.
Because he, you know, when he hitting off the tee, you know, he can birdie everything. With these other guys, I mean, it's gonna take them 2 shots to get up there.
There you go. So let's make it so. Forget the fact that we're making more money and think about those ratings even today when he's in contention. What do those Sunday ratings look like? Those Saturday and Sunday ratings.
They're huge.
Right? So they make more money than they've ever made in the history of the sport because of that guy. And they still changed it to make it conducive to everybody winning. So this isn't foreign, right? And baseball as well. Real talk only. And baseball as well. When we were growing up, how big were those parks?
Boy.
So
now everything got a short porch.
There you go. So since those parks were big, that meant 2 things. A, not everybody could hit a home run.
Mm-hmm.
B, you had to have speed in the outfields, so you could have speed on the base paths to generate and what we call in baseball, manufacture runs.
Small ball, as they call it.
That's what the St. Louis Cardinals won World Series and did that. Ozzie Smith, Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, etc.
Willie McGee, I always like he smells something.
Yeah, all the time, right? That's how they won World Series, right? What they did with baseball is exactly what you said. They moved those. Everybody's got a short porch. The parks are smaller. You're taking the speed out of the game. You make greatness accessible to everybody now, right? Now, think about this. Think about how we talk about, say, a Mike Trout, and you look at Ricky Henderson batting leadoff, over 300, over 30 home runs, over 100 RBIs, and stealing 120 bases, right? So today, you lead the league, you steal 40, you lead the league in stolen bases. So they have made this accessible to everybody. This is part of the plan. So analytics makes it accessible to everybody. Part of the plan.
Hey man, this is why you dope, man. This is why you dope.
No,
hopefully,
this is why we do this, man.
Hey man, hopefully we can hold off that champagne for one more night, because I want my peak. You know, I want to be able to say, report to my Cash App, people. Hey man, appreciate you, my brother.
Yes,
man.
Sir, appreciate you, fam.
If y'all don't know, this guy is on a little hiatus, man. He's on. You know, he had to get away. So, you know, I always tell the missus, I appreciate her for loaning you to me for a little while.
That's the boss. Shout out to Bob Williams.
Go hit the outlets now and go take in all that scenery, my brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Do what you do, man. Hey, same time next week, my brother.
We'll be here.
Everybody, appreciate y'all for, man, rocking with us, man. Hey, we do this for real. We do this for real. RTO.
Real talk only.
Y'all have a good week, man.
Yes, sir.
Peace.